Tech Talk 2020 with Sanjay Parker, the show where we get smarter together. I am here today with my humble co-host, Mike Carswell, and we are enjoying a lovely July in the city of Champions, Cleveland, Ohio.
Feeling good.
We're going to talk about something we're very familiar with in Cleveland, Ohio, and it is the sun.
Oh, my.
We're going to talk about how the sun can be used to provide solar energy.
Oh, my.
And what's happening in the solar industry today.
Wow. Hey, welcome, everyone, to Tech Talk 2020. Mike Carswell here with Sanjay Parker. We want to talk about technology. We want to talk about things in your life that affect your life, technology-driven. And we look forward to hearing from you on Twitter. Hit us up at Twitter. Tech Talk 2020 is our handle. And then also on our Facebook page, you can see us and hear us and talk to us and communicate with us also at Tech Talk 2020. So we're going to be focusing on the sun, the big ball up in the sky, the thing that disappears in November that we see sometimes like April 11th after tax day it comes back. That thing?
Wait, Cleveland's not the new Tucson?
You know, I was looking up at Tucson. They have 85% of the time they have sunny days. 85%.
That's too much.
Oh,
too much.
Yeah. Well, you know what the cloudiest city is in our nation? Take a guess. I'll run down the top five for you right after you. We're in the top
Northwest,
five.
Seattle.
We're in the top five. Seattle, yeah, number one. And the days of heavy cloud out of 365, 226. And Portland's 222. Buffalo coming in third at 208.
Representing the East.
Pittsburgh is cloudier than Cleveland. You got to love that.
Wow.
203 days, and we have 202 days. So out of our 365 days, we have heavy clouds, 202 of them here in good old Northeast Ohio.
Clouds are beautiful.
And you want to talk to me about the sun?
You can still get sunburned on a cloudy day. Do you know that?
I'm feeling you, man. But 202 heavy cloud days out of 365? That's not fair.
We still have 163 sunny days.
Trying to look positive. I love it. That's fine. But yeah, so tell me how the sun can be effectively used in Northeast Ohio. I mean, I've got 4 sons. You've got 1 son, you know. Not those sons. Not the SONs, the SUNs.
So,
yes. Okay,
not the Phoenix sons
Not the Phoenix
either.
sons, okay.
So, do you know how solar works? Like, let's say a rooftop panel.
So solar power is where we're headed today. You know, I've always wondered about that. I know that if I put my arm out the window when I'm driving a truck, I get trucker's arm. You know, my arm turns a little darker than the rest of me. Is that how the sun works?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Brings up the melanin and pigmentation in your skin to the surface. Yeah.
I know the sun feels good, and I should know that because I don't see it enough. So when it comes out, there's rejoicing.
Yes. Well,
am I complaining? I'm sorry.
No, let's just say Cleveland is probably not the ideal spot for rooftop solar installation, but we've all seen pictures of that. They look like shiny grids on top of a home, and it's on a rooftop closest to the sun, right?
Yeah, sure.
But mostly because it's unobstructed by trees. And so what it does is it captures the sun's energy, solar energy, that comes into those panels, and it converts that sun solar energy. Don't ask me how. I don't know how that does that part. It's kind of magic.
Okay.
Converts that solar energy into DC, direct current, which has to either be stored somewhere or it has to be converted right away into AC, which is alternating current, which is what we use in our outlets in our home. Now, these rooftop installations are extremely expensive. There's some subsidies and things like that, but it's still not a very economical way to get energy unless you live in one of the top 5 sunniest cities.
Gotta love it.
And in fact, in those top 5 sunniest cities and states or whatever it is, there's something called net metering laws. And so if the state requires the utility companies, which are highly regulated, to provide net metering, what that means is when you create energy and if you use solar, for example, and you create energy and you're not using it, for example, during the day when everybody's at work or school, you're not using much energy, there's a surplus of energy coming from those solar panels, it can be sold back to the grid. So the electric company will store that energy and resell it to other people.
What?
Yes. Crazy.
Taking away my stuff? Now, you mentioned earlier DC and AC, direct current. So direct current, for those who don't understand, direct current would kind of be like would be a battery. You know, so it's contained.
Storage.
It's contained. It's in one little spot. And then alternating current is obviously what's flowing through your house. You know, that's why you don't want to stick a knife or fork into the socket. It might change things.
Permanently. Scrambling.
Hey, the sunniest cities, real quick, since we went to the cloudiest spot. The
yeah.
sunniest cities, Yuma, Arizona, 90% of the time, the sun is banging. Oh, Redding, California, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Phoenix, Arizona, just to name a few, are some of the sunniest places around.
So in terms of solar rooftop panel adoption, California far outranks the rest of the nation.
And Arizona. Arizona, too.
Rooftop installations?
No. I'm just saying amount of sunshine. So
Yeah.
Yes.
But in terms of the installations, it's all in California, or a lot of it. And what's happening is there's a lot of people who can afford the $30,000 or so to get that put in. They finance it or they pay for it. And now they're getting zero electric bills, or they're getting a rebate check at the end of every month based on the energy that they're giving back to the grid.
Zero electric bills.
Zero.
So they're absorbing that that amount of energy to pay and take care of all the electricity in their home.
Yeah, but before you get too excited, do the math on this. If you're paying $100 a month in electric, maybe let's just say that's a low estimate.
Yeah, sure.
That's $1,200 a year saved. It's going to take you 20 years, to get anywhere near the 30,000, 25 years, more likely. And so, if you're having a lot of electrical usage and you live in a sunny state, absolutely makes sense, especially with the subsidies. But our friendly power utility companies aren't very happy about having to provide you money to have you provide that electricity. So
not in the least.
Some states where there's a high adoption rate, for example, Solar City, I think pulled out of Nevada because Nevada said net metering is not a requirement. And Solar City is one of the providers of rooftop panels. And it is a company that actually ties into some of our previous shows because Tesla is looking to merge with Solar City.
Oh, my.
So we'll talk about that after the break.
Okay,
What could be the implications of that? But when you look at solar, some of the big moves, though, have been, hey, if you can put solar on your rooftop, that's great, but you're going to be paying roughly $300 or 5 times, the megawatt hour cost of conventional electricity. So until you pay off that, initial investment. So it's significantly higher. But if you take that rooftop panel and put it in a field somewhere, then it makes a ton of sense. So what we're seeing now is big businesses come in and say, look, we can go ahead and we can put in a big rooftop panel system in a field. And now we can get energy that way, and we can resell that to consumers. And the cost, here's an example. Back in 2011, I think it was the first time that ever took, 2014. So Austin Energy in Texas put in a 150 megawatt solar plant, enough light to light and cool 30,000 homes, and the cost that they were selling it at was 5 cents a kilowatt hour, which is...
Yeah, that's not really making the current energy providers happy.
Right. But that is, at the time, it was a record price for solar power. So since then, it's been down to 4 cents a kilowatt. So that contract, they opened a market big, for southeastern states. And so what they're doing is, a lot of these other utility companies are taking notice. They're saying, wow, we had no idea where the cost of solar has come down to. So the rooftop panel installations are great and cool and sexy, and that's what we vision when we say, getting off the grid. But today, it's really hard to make that economical. So even though the rooftop panel increase has been about 40% year over year since 2011, we're still not seeing a ton of traction. But the future of getting your power still could be green, still could be renewable, and still could be using the sun, but it's through big companies that might do that for us.
That word green is so transferable. It's so utilized and kind of overutilized, I think. And I even think of, because green means money to me, but going green, I mean, someone would make that investment on a solar power effort simply to save the rest of us, or to think more globally is what they talk about. But I wanted to ask you, since, we're talking about solar power, I think that it's going to be really practical and mean a lot to me, as well as many others who think like me, when solar power is at a point where I can just plug it in and not think about it, when it becomes frictionless, when I don't think about it.
Yep.
That's when we reach a level of master development with solar power. So how far away are we for that?
Yeah, and I don't think we're that far. I mean, a lot of our energy is already renewable. It's based on wind and solar, and we're getting it into the grid that way through these big companies. Also, we're looking at, the stat is only 25% of rooftops in the United States are really suitable for solar power. It's not everybody in California is it suitable for, because there's trees, there's mountains, there's not enough direct sunlight.
Baby. I got trees.
Right. So it never makes sense for some rooftops. Only 25%. But what we're seeing is that companies or these consortiums are springing up that are green focused, and they're nonprofit companies like Mosaic, which will provide you a loan and help you take that energy and share it with others.
Not a
Companies
grant, it's a loan.
It's a loan, yeah. Companies like, there's government subsidies, but
I understand.
companies like Divvy, which will then do 100% green crowdfunding and help you get, in your municipality, get solar to come in, big solar, so that they can provide cheap energy to local residents without having to burn coal or do whatever, the traditional means are to provide that electricity.
Okay. I'm feeling that. I understand that. But again, I think from my practical standpoint, I want to see it where I can walk in a room and flip a switch and there's power.
Yep.
And honestly, today, we don't even know how the power gets there.
Yep.
We don't think about, when you flip a switch, what the process is for your lights to come on. Maybe some guys do, more engineering types, but the majority of us do not think that way. So if you can replace that activity or bring that ease of and trust in solar power with the flip of a switch, I think it'll be very attractive.
Absolutely. And if you don't have to maintain it and do it, you're still connected to the grid, but you're connected in a way that's bio and ecologically conscious. I think that would probably be something a lot of people are looking for.
When you say the grid, why don't you define that for everybody? When you say part of the grid.
Right. So the grid is being connected to power sources, right? So you see either power lines in your neighborhood or around your neighborhood, or if you've got, if you got a newer development that's underground, you see those little metal, boxes where the power is terminated. If you get cut off from that grid, you are completely cut off from power, right?
Okay.
That's why sometimes when the power line goes out 2 streets away, a whole bunch of neighborhoods are because, you've got wires running in parallel and in serial and connected. And if one thing goes down, several other things can go down. You're part of that grid.
We're all connected. Okay.
Yeah, we're all
I get
connected.
the grid word. That's awesome. That is awesome. So, again, solar power, we need to continue to figure out different ways to utilize it. I was searching online, and I saw that at some point people made solar clothing. Yeah, that's right. I saw a woman adorned with little glowy things around her neck. And there's all different things that people are thinking of how to use solar power. I'm really interested in hearing some of those things if you've got those ideas bouncing around your head. So cool. So we're going to tease you and tell you, stay tuned. After the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about solar power and its exciting possibilities here on Tech Talk 2020. So tweet at us at Tech Talk 2020 or hit us up on Facebook, also on Tech Talk 2020, and we'll talk to you after the break. Thank you for tuning in to 1330 AM WINT Integrity Radio.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank a veteran.
What does fun sound like? Let's ask Lost Nation Sports Park.
It's way back and gone!
Nothing but net.
It's in the hole!
Back in the end zone. Touchdown.
Down the hatch. Ice cold.
The sound of fun brought to you by Lost Nation Sports Park.
I felt guilty not always being able to take Mom everywhere. She can't drive anymore, but she still needs her independence. Then I heard about Lake Tran's Seniors on the Go program. Pat from Lake Tran visited us in Mom's home, and I went along on her first bus ride and saw the care Lake Tran drivers provide. Mom's got independence and I've got peace of mind. If you need help with your parents, call Pat at 1-888-LAKE-TRAN to schedule a Seniors on the Go visit in their own home or visit laketran.com.
Recline, relax, and enjoy the show. Atlas Cinemas at the Great Lakes Mall Stadium 16 now features luxurious and comfy oversized style seating with full recliner. With advanced digital projection and Real D XL 3D, you'll not only be entertained with the best surround sound, but in style and comfort. Coming soon, you'll be able to select your seat online at the Atlas Cinemas Great Lakes Mall Stadium 16 Theater box office or at one of the self-serve lobby kiosks. For movie selections at all 5 Atlas Cinemas locations, visit atlascinemas.net.
This is Dave Ramsey, and we're proud that the Dave Ramsey Show can be heard in Northeast Ohio, weekdays at 2 on Integrity Radio, WINT.
Welcome back to Tech Talk 2020 with Sanjay Parker, the show where we get smarter together. I'm here with my co-host, Mike Carswell, and we are talking about solar energy, solar power, and developments that are happening to get you smarter about solar technology today.
We always want to get smarter together. If you know more about this solar power stuff than us, which wouldn't be hard in my case, tweet at us at Tech Talk 2020 with some of your thoughts, ideas, or hit us up on our Facebook page, which is also Tech Talk 2020. Welcome back. Sanjay, let's talk about the sun.
Definitely. So it's pretty clear that with all of the movements around being greener and sustainable energy and renewables, wind and solar, i.e. Mother Nature, are really big focuses of getting that energy. And the sun is, for the foreseeable future, an endless source of energy when we can convert the sun's rays into DC current using photovoltaic cells, which are PV cells, which is what you see when you think about a solar rooftop panel. You see those grids that go on top of a rooftop.
Sure.
Well, that's a PV cell, and that takes that solar energy, converts it to DC, and then what happens is that it goes there's another piece of it that converts it to AC, so you can plug things in and run your home off of it, or it sends that excess energy that you're not using back to the big grid, which the energy companies own, and then they pay you for that. So sometimes they'll give you retail rates. So a lot of people who are having these rooftop panels in really sunny areas with great rooftops, and we said only about 25% of the rooftops in the country are suitable, but those people are getting zero electric bills, or they're getting a check back every month.
Well, in Northeast Ohio, that's probably not even worthy being discussed because, over 200 days of cloud covers. It's depressing me, man.
Yeah, and right now these
rooftop
panels are only about 18% efficient in terms of converting the amount of energy that hits them from the sun to what is actually output in an AC format. So, as that technology gets better, some companies have already claimed 25% efficiency. We might be able to get something in Ohio that makes sense, even with the limited number of sun days. You can still get energy on a cloudy day. Not a lot, but you still can get that.
All right. Well, again, there's hoping. I mean, anything can happen. But again, whenever we talk about solar power, I do think about the fact that our inclement weather prevents us from really being able to utilize that. Now, let's say, for instance, you and I have a lot of money. We want to invest in solar power. We could, spend our dollars and set up facilities out west where they have more sunshine. My question is, if it's in a DC or direct current environment, couldn't we take bags or bottles or cans of power that were grown out west, like produce, and bring them here to the less sunny areas and use them efficiently to save here?
Yeah, and I think that's probably the goal of big solar. Put a bunch of PV cells out in some fields in some very sunny areas, feed that into the grid. The infrastructure is here, right? We talked about the wiring that goes to your home. There's no end to the possibilities of feeding extra energy in and the way we get energy in. Today, even a lot of companies are creating energy using solar panels, and they're creating green renewable energy through wind turbines and all of that stuff. So it's not all coal burning to create that. In fact, Europe, as always, in terms of environmental changes, they're a leader in that. There's very, very few of their electrical utilities are using coal burning to provide that energy.
Cool, man.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yep.
So we talked about a company called Solar City, which was a startup.
That's a company, not a facility, not a municipality.
No, not a city, and not like Circuit City. It's not a store. It's a
New
company.
Rock City.
It's a company founded in California, of course, where
Kansas
there's lots
City.
of sun and lots of ideas. And what you see,
Soak City.
No. So yeah, that would be kind of cool. No, it's not. So they do rooftop installations. They started in 1996. It's actually run by a relative of Elon Musk, who started up SpaceX and Tesla, who we talk about quite a bit on the show. But his name is Lyndon Rive, and recently Elon Musk, who's in charge of Tesla, announced that he's going to try to merge with Solar City.
Aha.
And so we think, wow, a company creating green mobility products, which is the Tesla battery-powered vehicles. Now they're looking at merging with a green energy supplying company. What on earth could be the fit there? What do you think?
No, you got me baffled.
kind of neat. Well, one thing Tesla also makes, in addition to their green mobility devices, their vehicles, is something called the Powerwall.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is a big, huge battery that sits in your house that stores energy.
Kind of like a phone charger.
Yeah, right. Kind of, yeah, right. But
So I could throw my phone over there and let it charge. And
right, but it could charge your phone all day long. So it'll store kilowatts of energy. And now if you have a solar device on your rooftop and it's taking that current, converting it to AC for you to use, but if you're not there to use it, it's sending it to the grid. That's cool. What if you live somewhere where you want to be totally off the grid?
Ooh.
Or you can't get utilities, right? So now it takes that photovoltaic current that's from the solar, puts it into this battery cell, this battery pack that's in your house as DC current, and then that converts it to AC when you need it, like at night. So typically with today's rooftop installations, you create energy during the day and it goes back to the solar or the electrical company.
Right.
At night, you still need the electrical company to run because you're not storing that energy anymore.
Sure, okay.
With something like a Tesla Powerwall, you would store that energy. You can run your house at night as well.
So if I'm off the grid, it's almost like, when you lose your power, oftentimes folks refer to their gasoline or petroleum, or is it petrol? Not petroleum, what's the word? Propane powered.
Yeah, backup systems.
Backup systems, which is a generator.
Yep.
So what you're in essence is creating a generator of the solar power that I've saved up.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's there's no emissions. It's silent. There's no moving parts. Really, it's pretty green. So you're getting energy from the sun, storing it on site, and you're using it. It solves a problem for the utility companies who don't like paying for it unless they're required to.
Can I get a tan using
this
it
net
too?
metering.
It is the sun.
If you
Can I get a
tinker,
tan?
if you go over there and start chipping on it with a hammer or something, I'm sure you get a nice crispiness to you. So.
Orange glow.
Yeah, so all of this stuff is not cheap today, but they're talking about using. So Tesla's building this gigafactory out in Nevada, and it's going to be the largest creator of fuel cell batteries on the planet.
It's literally called a gigafactory.
It's the gigafactory. It's
Nice.
absolutely tremendously big. I believe it's the second largest building in the United States, behind Boeing's place where they build the 747s, the 777s, where you literally have to take a vehicle to get from one side to the other. Otherwise, it would take all day. Yeah.
I wonder about the fact that sometimes, I was just thinking about the Indians playing today, and they play their baseball game, and every time you drive past Progressive Field, you see those big lights up there that actually look like toothbrushes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Can you foresee at one time in our coming life that maybe the University of Arizona or someplace else where it's warm all the time and the sun's out, the sun that we don't see that much here, that those, oh my gosh, look at the sky today. Those folks will be able to have a solar-powered stadium?
Yeah, absolutely. And so not only do we see renewables and green energy coming in at a much better, more efficient rate, but we're also seeing the consumption go down, right? So we know that one 8-watt LED light will emit the same amount of light as a 75-watt incandescent, right? So now we're only using 8 watts of energy. That's literally 12% of what it used to be.
Are you an LED guy yet in-house?
Yeah, we've replaced quite a few. They're dimmable LEDs, much better than those compact fluorescents, which really they're supposed to last years and years. Everybody I talk to, those things just die all the time, and they've got mercury inside. They're not very good, right?
Yeah.
So LEDs, way to go, definitely.
And sometimes you're a little scary when new technology comes on board. People say, you got to go this way. This is what you need to do. But then it's 3 times the price. So that's kind of happened with the whole LED system with me. But I've slowly transitioned. Probably we're looking at about 30% of the bulbs in my house are now LED. And I'm going to make a slow transition because, again, they're expensive.
They are.
But they're supposed to last.
Yep.
And there's some lights that I just annoyingly had to replace way too often, like the outdoor lights, because I'm a big fan of lighting outdoors. And the LED light in my garage and right in front of my home, the lights now have LED bulbs in them. I've had them there for a good 3 months, and we'll see. We'll see if we make it through the winter.
Yeah, I'm looking at Amazon right now, and these BR30 little, floodlight LEDs, which we use, in most living rooms, and if you get can lights in the ceiling, those are still like a 6-pack for $27, a little over $4. So a little bit expensive for a bulb, but The great thing about that is you cut your energy costs right away. It does make a difference when you start putting those in. You know what it did for me? Just a side note. My dad my dad was raised, we didn't have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And so you turn off everything.
Yes.
The minute you leave, you don't leave things running. So I'm always going around turning off light switches and turning on light switches. And with the LEDs, when you have the kids and they leave something on, I don't get that pang of, we're just wasting money. I see my money go. It's not as bad as, hey, we can leave that front porch light on until 12 o'clock at night or whatever we want. I'm not worried about it. So it affords peace of mind as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that it will. So I'm waiting for the day when solar power, like I mentioned earlier in the show, reaches a level where I can flip the switch. It's on. It's solar. I don't even know about it, but I'm saving money.
Yep. And in the news today, I wanted to mention the first solar plane just performed its transatlantic
That's fine.
voyage.
Uh-huh.
It's called a Solar Impulse 2. And it landed in southern Spain on Thursday. 71 hours of a flight that began in New York City. So New York to Spain, 4,204 miles, a maximum height of 28,000 feet, similar to a regular plane. At an average speed, get this, it's definitely not a passenger vehicle.
I was going to say, it took a while.
59 miles per hour. I think you can ride your bike almost that fast.
So it sailed over the ocean?
Yeah, it did.
At a rate of 59 miles an hour?
Yep.
Aren't there fish that can swim faster than that?
Probably. But
Michael
just
Phelps
think
could
about
beat
it.
that thing.
I mean, so it's storing energy on board. It's collecting energy from the sun, completely green. I mean, Elon Musk already talks about battery-powered planes at this point.
Right.
We're scared because our iPhones die, but with the technology there and the redundancies, it's very safe.
Well, we have to crawl before we run, and all that other, however that part goes, and then so that's the flight. Just today, you said, what's the name of the plane again?
It is the Solar Impulse 2.
Solar Impulse 2. Look it up on the line, you guys, and learn a little bit more, because we're out here to get smarter together, to learn about solar energy today. Thank you for listening in to Tech Talk 2020. Mike Carswell and Sanjay Parker would like to say have a great evening. Again, tweet at us at Tech Talk 2020 or hit us up on our Facebook page at Tech Talk 2020. So thank you for tuning in to Integrity Radio, WINT 1330 AM, and WINTradio.com.